So we continue with business ethics. So we're going to trade-offs between profit and ethics. So before we go into profits and ethics, we already know what ethics is. The policy that guides our attitude, the ways we behave, which should be morally in the organization, how we act to the stakeholders, how we act as employees, how we ensure that the environment is well kept during our course of operation. That is ethics, the moral aspect, the moral way of doing things done or getting things done in terms of operations. How we deal with people in fairness and honesty. So profit, we already know what profit is, your revenue from your cost, right? Yes. So when you talk about trade-offs between profit and ethics, it's basically going to be on revenues, cost, and ethics itself, where we do. So, like I said, so for trade-offs, now, what does trade-offs mean? Trade-offs means you're making a choice, and because of you making that choice, you're losing on another choice. That is trade-off. Basically, like opportunity cost. You're making a choice, and as a result of you making a choice, you're losing out on another choice. So here, I said a conflict can exist between ethical objectives and profitability and a trade-off for cost when the selection of one choice results in the loss of another. This applies at all levels, from individuals through to the largest corporations and even government. So we all make decisions. Government make decisions, corporate organizations make decisions, individuals will make decisions. So in the course of we making these decisions, if it's going to be like making ethical decisions, which means we are taking decisions based on the moral of it, it might lead to what? A trade-off. So the trade-off it will lead to, because we are talking about business ethics. We're talking about ethical decisions taken by business. So the trade-off is going to be based on cost, revenue, and profit. Are you there? Yes. So here I wrote trade-offs occur when the selection of one choice results in the loss of another. For businesses, trade-offs exist when taking decisions. Acting ethically when they are not required to do so might have a negative impact. So most of the time, if the law does not require us to take ethical steps, we don't have to. Do you get the point? So if you feel okay, yeah, as a business, you are going for you are so conscious about all ethics, then it might lead to a negative impact. Like it might lead to a negative impact on your profits. That is what the point is here. If you are taking ethical decisions, when government does not talk about it, that means when it is not necessary to take it, it might have a negative impact in your profits and your business. So yeah, the first thing they talked about is it raises cost. It can raise cost. Are you there, please?
Yes.
Yeah, for raising cost, they said paying workers above the minimum wage rate, as this might mean that the business is adopting an ethical code of practice. So firms might choose to pay workers above the minimum. The minimum wage rate is there, which you must not pay below. That is ethic. But paying above the minimum wage, can you just stop that, please? Yes. Paying above the minimum wage might mean that you are increasing your cost. That is what we're talking about here. So you feel like, oh, they are foreign workers. You want to pay them more than the minimum wage. Yeah. So this might mean that you are incurring more cost, and it could even affect the profitability of the business. Do you understand cost here? So in the course of you incurring more cost here, you might want to deviate it or divert it to the prices of goods and services, which will lead to unethical stance also. Do you get the point here?
Yes, sir.
The firm is incurring more cost as a result of paying above the minimum wage rate. This means that the profit of the firm might reduce. As a result of that, the firm might take a decision to increase the price, which becomes unethical. Mm-hmm. 2, it can reduce revenues. Here they said, for example, paying higher working now for revenues now. They said a business might lose. No, sorry. Here they said a business might lose a contract if it refuses to give a bribe. Selling medicines to emerging economies at low prices might increase sales, but total revenue is likely to be lower. Please, can you just drop that now? Yes, please. what they are saying is this: a business might choose not to want to pay contract or bribe businesses or firms to get contracts. Bribe means you are paying certain amount of money to influence decisions an individual or firms want to take towards you. You want them to take a decision that suits you, that favors you, that goes on your own favor by tipping them certain amount of money. That is a bribe. So a firm might an individual, a business might not want to do that, and as a result of that, loses out on the contract. So some businesses would not get a contract because they refuse to pay bribes. It is unethical to pay bribes. It is unethical to pay bribes. But people do pay bribes. People do give bribes. Companies do give tips to ensure that they get the job. But if you feel, no, we are not going to pay bribes, we are not going to give bribes to anybody to get a job. So this might mean that you're going to lose out on the contract and your revenue reduces. Is it clear? Another one they talked about is selling medicines to emerging economies, developing economies at a lower price. It is unethical. It is not unethical to sell medicines, but selling it at a lower price might mean that a lot of people would buy. If a lot of people buy, your sales will increase, but your total revenue might fall. Do you get the point here? You might not have an increase in revenue, but you might have an increase in the quantity sold. So that means the firm or the business might be witnessing reduction in revenue, not increase in sales. You could increase your sales, but at the same time, your revenue will fall because you are selling at a lower price, because you feel, oh, these economies, they are not rich, they are average economy. So let's help them. So you are selling medicines to them at a lower price. Exactly. So that's another, this is a trade-off. You're losing out on revenue because you are selling at a price. You took a decision.
I'm listening, sir. I'm listening.
You took a decision. No, please stop it. You took a decision to lower a price, and as a result of that, the revenue is falling. This is what we're talking about here. However, in another sense, however, adopting an ethical stance can produce benefits. So sticking with ethical stance, like standing with ethics, working with ethics, doing things ethically also has its own benefits. So one, they said marketing purposes. Some businesses might use ethical stance to attract investors. Investors are those that want to, put their own money into the business. So as a firm, as a company, you could use this as a sort of marketing to them. So they could get attracted to your company. They could get attracted to your business because your business takes ethical stance. Do you understand?
Yes.
So it could be a sort of a method in which they feel like, oh, we have to follow up with these businesses because they are ethically behaving. They behave ethically. So investors are attracted to your business because you've taken ethical stance. That is one of the benefits you get. And this would what? This could increase your capital employed. So second one. Marketing purposes. Okay, yeah. So businesses promote their positive ethical beliefs when marketing their products, as customers stand against unethical businesses and they may face serious penalties from government if they operate unethically. So the second way in which ethical behavior can be beneficial to a company is that you can use it to market for your customers. You can use it as a yardstick to market your customers. Customers these days, they are conscious about ethical practices. They will protest that, oh, company A, company B is destroying the environment. Company C is polluting the air. So these things are unethical. So customers can also, stand against companies that does this, companies that do it. As a result of that, they might lose out on revenue. So you as a business, you could use your ethical practices to convince them, to market to them that, oh, you can always buy from our company. We take ethical stance. Do you get the point here? So the benefit is that you can attract investors, and two, customers will be willing to buy from you. especially customers that are conscious of ethical practices. Is it clear?
Yes.
Then we go to code of practices. When we talk about codes of practice, this explains how employees in the business should respond on situations where they encounter ethical issues. So what we are talking about, codes of practices, most of the time, employees, they will be faced with different ethical issues. So how do they respond when they face these ethical issues? That is what we need to talk about here. So here I wrote ethical codes may contain statements about environmental responsibility. What the environment what is being expected of us, how we take care of our environment is an ethical stance. 2, dealing with customers and suppliers in fair and honest manner. So we have to relate with our customers, we have to relate with our suppliers in a fair and honest way. That means we are taking ethical stance. 3, competing fairly and not engaging in practices such as pollution or destroyer pricing. We must, it is important, it is not unethical to compete. It's a free world, it's a competitive environment. So you have the right to compete with any firm. You have the right to compete in the market, but you must not engage in collusion or destroyer pricing, predatory pricing. You must not attract customers by lowering your own price in the expense of others who cannot do that, in the expense of firms or rivals or competitors that cannot do the same as you do. So compete with them, but compete fairly. Do you get the point here? So this is an ethical stance. The workforce are responding fairly to their needs. The workforce are important. The workers are important too. Try to respond to their needs. Don't forget them. Don't trade them off with profits. Don't take decisions about profit or lowering costs as a result of their own perks or benefits. So you should also take care of your workers. You should also take care of them. Don't do away with them. Don't just neglect them. Is it clear? So that's about codes of practices. I think, yeah, that's all about that. So we have activity 2. Do you have any question?
No.
All right.
Time.